KageKao Part 2. Mark left the bar he was at. He had come to this bar to have a little bit to drink before he faced Beatrice, but he didn't feel like drinking at all and hardly touched what he had bought. Mark told himself that he would go and apologize like a man and set off towards her house. Mark reached out his fist and knocked on the door loudly. He waited. No one answered. He pressed the doorbell several times and could hear it ring through the house. Still, no one answered. Getting worried, he knocked on the door and shouted her name. Still, no one answered. He tried the doorknob, and it opened. That was odd. She usually kept the door locked. The first thing he noticed when he entered was the open window. The wood bordering the sides of it seemed to have a lot of claw marks on it, like a cat had been there. He walked into the dining room, calling out her name. He paused when he saw the bottle of champagne on the table. It was the bottle that he had had in his cabinet. It was open. He picked it up and examined it. There was a note taped to the side of it. The note read, "Beatrice, I'm so sorry about our fight. I really want to make it up to you because I love you with all my heart and soul. Mark." Mark stared at the note, looking at the little heart following the word soul. He didn't remember sending this to her. "Beatrice!" he shouted. He walked around the table, and his blood ran cold. He saw her, his darling Beatrice, on the floor. She wasn't moving, and shards of broken glass surrounded her. "Beatrice!" Mark shouted, and fell to the floor to pick her up, ignoring the cuts given to him by the shards of glass. He saw from the shapes of them that they were from a wine glass. Tears streamed from his eyes and he hugged her. He knew she was dead. "That's so sweet of him." Mark paused and looked up. There it was. The monster. It was sitting in the windowsill, imitating her voice. "I'm so sorry we even fought in the first place." Mark stared at it, anger boiling up inside. "소리가 난다. 신다. 毒だよ." Then she drank it. Then she died. It's poison. It laughed hard, putting its hand up to its face to try and stop. "You think this is funny? You killed her! I'll kill you!" Mark stood up and grabbed the bottle. "Omae okotte kai? You mad?" Mark threw the bottle, but the monster jumped out of the window before the bottle reached it. He was going to kill it. He would make it pay. Mark walked over to Beatrice's dresser. He knew where she kept a pistol for self-defense. He pulled it out and opened the clip, seeing that there were only 4 bullets left. That was all right. He only wanted 1. Mark ran out the door. There was no sign of the monster anywhere. He knew it was going back to his apartment, though. Mark ran as fast as he could, ignoring crosswalk signs and other people. Just running. He reached his apartment building and ran up to his floor, slamming the door open to his apartment. He was right. The monster was there. It was lying on top of a bookshelf, holding a glass of wine, the wine bottle in the other hand. Wine ka mo, Nay. The wine is all gone. Mark flew into a rage and pointed the gun towards it, shooting a bullet. It sprung up and jumped to the wall, leaving the wine glass and clinging to the wall with its claws so that its back was facing Mark. He shot a second time, and it flipped over so it was now facing Mark, its left arm and leg bending farther than a normal human's. He shot again, and it dropped to the floor, now on all fours. Mark shot yet again, and it did a roll to dodge. Then it jumped back onto the wall, staying there and staring at him. Mark walked over to it angrily and pointed the pistol towards its forehead. He pulled the trigger, but there was only a click, indicating that there were no more bullets. The monster began to laugh crazily. Mark was enraged and swung the gun towards it for a melee attack, but the monster crawled to the side, picking up the wine glass that it had left on the bookshelf. He threw the wine glass at Mark, but Mark dodged it. Then it threw the wine bottle, and it hit Mark square between the eyes. Mark passed out. Mark regained consciousness. He was face to face with the monster. It was clinging to the ceiling, its arms and legs bending back at a 90-degree angle so it was facing him. Its mask changed again. The luminous smile on the dark black side of its mask disappeared, and the angry frown reappeared on the white side of its mask. Then it said to him in a dark voice, lacking the happy playfulness of before,
You're boring.
He made a low, growling, hissing sound and pounced. Later that day, the police arrived at Mark's apartment. A neighbor had called them because they had heard gunshots. Mark was found dead, claw marks all over his body and throat clawed out. The kill seemed animal, and claw marks were found along the walls and ceiling. Bloody footprints were found headed towards the window, so they determined that it was done by a human. Upon further inspection of the body, they found something carved into the skin on Mark's forehead. Boring.